We've got the Nissan Ariya, Nissan's first electric SUV.
This one shocked me. Oh yeah. That's why you spend all that money.
With an EV, always great.
All that money to get the acceleration. It's actually our hot topic coming up.
Yeah.
Is this got enough power? Right now we're going to get into it. What does this thing have under the floor?
There are two battery options, a 63 kilowatt hour or an 87 kilowatt hour battery, front wheel drive and all wheel drive options with standard and long range models. Depending on the model you choose, you get a range of power between 214 to 389 horsepower and 221 to 442 pound-feet of torque.
All-wheel drive models with the larger battery offer the most power with 389 horsepower, 442 pound-feet of torque. If you want the most range, it's the front-wheel drive models with the larger battery, 490 kilometers or 304 miles.
We're driving the Evolve Plus front-wheel drive model with an 87 kilowatt hour battery, 238 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque with up to 465 kilometers, 289 miles of range.
Now, the one thing you're going to notice is this is more expensive than many of its competitors, but it comes with a lot more stuff. What are the key standard features?
The base trim comes with a battery heater, a 12.3-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto, Amazon Alexa, a 12.3-inch driver display, 6-speaker audio system, an 8-way power driver seat, 6-way manual passenger seat, driver seat memory, front and rear heated seats, leatherette upholstery, heated steering wheel, and Safety Shield 360.
This is beautiful, Andrea. Don't you agree? The wood trim and the backlit buttons. The most important one is the drive modes. What are we going to put it in?
Got to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure you like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea to see what's going on behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. Well, what do you get with an electric car? Smooth, quiet, low center of gravity. Ticks all the boxes because they all do.
Yeah.
Is this different than any other electric car in your opinion?
Not really. I think that it has a good combination of a comfortable interior, good handling, quick acceleration, and the cabin remains quiet. I do find that the suspension is a little bit firmer than some of the other electric vehicles we've driven, but I like it.
Yeah, I think it's actually appeals to the way we like our vehicles to ride, but you do notice it compared to others that are really quite soft. It's interesting, we're getting the Cadillac Lyriq in a little while, so we're going to really look forward to seeing how that one differs.
Yeah.
But I think the real star of the show is the interior. We're going to get to that in a moment. But overall, it is what people are wanting, a compact utility electrified.
Yeah, it does a lot well. I think that there are a few things that some people are scratching their head about. One is this e-step that Nissan has gone with. It does not bring the vehicle to a complete stop. So there is no one pedal drive. And the feedback I've been getting is, but why do they do that with the Nissan Leaf? Why can't you bring the vehicle to a complete stop and then go with this, with the Ariya? Well, Nissan says it's because, and Volkswagen did the same thing, that they want people to go from a gas model to an electric vehicle and not have it be too harsh, but for things to be very familiar.
If they wanted it to come to a full stop, they would have named it e-stop.
They certainly would
It's called e-step. You know what? It's not our favorite anyway, the regen automatic braking. We leave it off. And I think it's also a liability thing. They want you to physically put your foot on the brake. Hello, lawyers.
But I think that with consumers purchasing EVs, they really love the one pedal drive.
I do not.
That is the feedback I get. It is a very popular choice. Some other things about the brakes, they don't feel squishy. I actually think the brakes are pretty good on this model. We have driven other EVs like
Mercedes.
and the brakes are very squishy. So Nissan's done a pretty good job with this.
Yeah, but overall, it's really hard to describe the differences. They all have a similar feel, an electric vehicle. And that's one of the problems with electric vehicles is how do you make them different from the others? Well, a lot of it comes down to style. And on the outside of this one, when I first saw it in photographs, I didn't like it. But now that we've had it for a week, I think it looks pretty good. It certainly has a classic crossover shape, but it's modern and different.
Yeah, a futuristic looking for sure. Nissan has done a nice job with this exterior. They wanted to keep it simple, and I think that they achieved that. From the front is a very simple grille or non-grille,
Kind of like
whatever you like to
Mercedes is
describe it.
similar,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, very similar. And then of course you've got regular door handles, which are body colored.
Yes.
And guess what else there is? A rear
wiper.
wiper.
Yeah.
So I like the design of this. Nissan calls this design timeless Japanese futurism.
Sure. Call it whatever you want. The one thing I like about it is it's a classic sort of crossover shape.
Yeah.
I would say the closest vehicle to this in terms of functionality and shape would be the ID4 from Volkswagen.
The Ariya offers ground clearance of up to 7.3 inches. It has a drag coefficient of 0.30, but also up to 0.33 depending on the trim you choose. Comes standard with LED headlights, LED taillights, 19-inch wheels, available 20-inch.
Voice recognition.
Okay, I have to say about this, it's very sensitive, the whole voice recognition.
Well, we didn't even say anything.
I know, but I must have said Nissan.
No, it didn't.
Didn't do this.
All right, moving to the inside. This is really where this shines, and this is head and shoulders above a lot of its competitors.
Yeah.
And it really looks premium to me. I think it's a beautiful interior.
I like the bronze colored accents. This comes standard with a leatherette interior, available Napa leather, and then it's got some great trim design on the interior as well. I think it looks super cool.
And you've got the dual panel instrument radio that we see in a lot of brands now. It's really well done. It's kind of what you expect in a premium brand. Back to the point, we touched on it when we first started, is the wood inlay in the dashboard and the center of the console here that has the backlit flush mounted switches. It's a real premium look, and we're going to talk more about this in Questions, Coffee and Cars.
The other thing this offers is Nissan Zero Gravity seats, which are incredibly comfortable. You'll find that this on a long road trip will be enjoyable, and there's lots of lumbar support as well as thigh support.
Now the cool thing is the center console is electronically adjustable fore and aft. Let's get into the packages because there's a lot of things to choose from with this.
We went through our key standard features. Other available features, depending on the trim you choose, include a panoramic sunroof, a head-up display, a 360 camera, wireless charger, power passenger seat memory, ventilated front seats, a power liftgate or a hands-free power liftgate, the 10-speaker Bose sound system, heated rear seats, and of course, Napa leather upholstery.
Now the advantage of an electric car, perfectly flat floor. This one is particularly roomy. When you get in the back seat, there is a lot of leg room. Headroom, not so much. The nice thing is there is a slight amount of recline to the rear seat.
Comparing the Ariya to other competitors like the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Toyota BZ4X, the Ariya offers 42.3 inches of front legroom, which is a little more than these competitors. Second row legroom at 37 inches is more than the Toyota, but about 2 inches less than the Ioniq 5.
And then you lift up, in this case, the power liftgate, and you have a very large and usable cargo area. This one also has the cargo divide system, so you can flip up the bottom to stop your groceries from flying around. You can remove it as well to get an even deeper cargo space.
Cargo space behind the second row at 22.8 cubic feet falls short to both of these competitors, and overall cargo space at 59.7 cubic feet is a little bit larger than both the Hyundai and Toyota.
Excellent questions as usual. One of them is, does it come with cup holders? Of course.
Time now for Questions, Coffee and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
How are the touch controls on the dashboard easy to use?
I'm mixed on this, Andrea. I find them, they're logically laid out,
Yeah.
but you have to get just the right pressure.
Okay, I don't mind them. I think that they're great. I'm just thrilled that I don't have to do everything in the screen. So it's definitely something you can get used to. And they're pretty simple and easy to access. I mean, it's well laid out.
Yeah, it's very well laid out.
Yeah.
And boy, do they look cool, especially backlit at nighttime through the wood. You get the mode buttons here in the center console. It's really cool.
I know
it's
that
different.
wood. Don't you love that wood trim?
No shiny hard plastic.
No.
There's just a little bit by the controls
Yeah.
here for the windows and on the steering wheel. That's it.
Really
well done.
elevates this interior.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I have to add too, there's a giant volume knob.
Appreciate that, Nissan.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, wait, Andrea.
Yeah?
But there's more. Real door handles.
I know.
And a real wiper.
And a panoramic sunroof that opens.
I like this thing.
I know, all these good things. How does this compare to Kia and Hyundai's offerings that are close in size? Think this has what it takes to be a good competitor. Yeah, it definitely has what it takes. I would say that this is probably one of the nicest interiors in the non-luxury EV category. It's nicer, in my opinion, than the Ioniq 5, and I think that is a great model.
Yeah, we were really impressed with the materials in the Ioniq 5. I just like this layout better. They have the movable center console. This one does the same thing, but it's motorized. But I would say that this is more of a conventional SUV shape.
Yeah.
So the EV6 has a chopped roof. The Ioniq 5, even though it's big, it doesn't look it. This one, I think, really is what you're kind of expecting in a compact utility.
Yeah, something that is spacious. This kind of has a real lounge feel in here with the flat floor, which they all have. I do like all the storage in here. There are actually 2 glove boxes. One that you could use as a tray. You can put your glasses, you can put your snacks.
Potato chips for a road trip.
Easy for everybody to access. And then there's a second glove box in the normal area. Now, some differences between this and the Korean twins is that the charging speed is quite low when you're on the road, only up to 130 kilowatt. So if you are charging on the road, doing a lot of road trips, you're going to have to plan it, that it's going to take a little bit longer. But as we all know, about 90% of people charge at home with a level 2 charger, so that might not be a big deal for you. As well, pricing. This is more expensive.
Yeah, but it's way nicer.
Way nicer.
Yeah, it's got lots of equipment in it. And this, honestly, they could have put an Infiniti badge on this. They decided to market it as a Nissan. Yeah. I'm kind of guessing maybe it started out as an Infiniti and they said, oh, maybe we'll make it a Nissan because that brand is, I don't know what they're doing with Infiniti.
Can I add just one more thing? The touch screen here, Nissan has moved it forward and angled it towards the driver, whereas the Ioniq 5 is not like that. And I find that sometimes that's harder to access. This is great. It is in a fantastic position when you're driving. No coffee in front seats. I think he means coffee cup holders.
Oh, yeah, there's holders here. Well, that was the easiest question we've had so far.
I know. It's actually quite cool because it's very narrow and slim, but no problem for fitting coffee cups.
And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
How is the acceleration on the Ariya with 238 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque? Really curious how this car performs.
So they want to know about acceleration?
Yeah.
Well, it's got that classic EV snap.
Yeah.
The thing you have to remember, Andrea, is this is replacing a vehicle like the Nissan Rogue that has a 3-cylinder turbo.
Yeah.
This is going to outperform that every day, all day long. Maybe not for a long distance road trip.
No.
But you know what? What are your expectations? It's going to exceed them.
Now, obviously, if you get the all-wheel drive model with 389 horsepower and then that torque figure is very good, you're going to feel more power. But this is sufficient, and that's what I love about electric vehicles, is that they have that quick acceleration even if you only have 221 horsepower. It's pretty good.
It's all about torque.
Yeah.
The nice thing about electric car, any electric car, is, for example, you want to get out of a side street and there's a small window and you just punch it and away you go. Now, in slippery conditions, this will spin the front wheels because it is a front wheel drive. But the upside to this is you put good winter tires on a front wheel drive vehicle, it's going to be just fine for most people.
Yeah, for sure.
So my line is always, electric vehicles are the plaything of the upper middle class. And when you see the price of this thing, you might agree.
Yeah.
Our vital stats.
Let's start with pricing. The base model, which is a front-wheel drive model, starts at just under $53,000 Canadian. And in the US, the base front-wheel drive model starts at just over $43,000 US. The Ariya comes with a 7.2 kilowatt onboard charger. With a DC fast charger with speeds up to 130 kilowatt, the Ariya with the smaller battery will charge from 10 to 80% in 35 minutes, and the larger battery 40 minutes. With a level 2 charger between 10.5 to 14 hours, depending on the size of the battery.
The Ariya does not qualify for a tax credit in the United States, but it does qualify for the federal EV rebate in Canada of $5,000, plus any other rebates in participating provinces. The all-wheel drive models can tow 1,500 pounds, and the warranty is 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, or 36,000 miles. So you want a compact utility that's electrified. What else can you buy?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Toyota BZ4X all-wheel drive model with 214 horsepower and 367 kilometers, 228 miles of range. It has a starting price just under $55,000.
The Hyundai Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive long-range model has 320 horsepower, 414 kilometers or 256 miles of range, and a starting price of $55,000.
The Volkswagen ID4 all-wheel drive model has 295 horsepower and 410 kilometers, 255 miles of range. It has a starting price just under $53,000.
The Kia EV6 all-wheel drive with 320 horsepower, 454 kilometers or 282 miles of range, and a starting price of $57,500.
So there are 4 electric vehicles for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
I like how comfortable this Ariya is.
Beautiful interior.
I don't like the price point on the top 2 trims in Canada. $70,000 Canadian is right in the luxury category.
And this thing is too expensive, which is the same thing Andrew just said.
This Ariya does a lot well. If you're interested in an EV, you should check this one out.
I like everything about it, but the price.